Hey everybody, welcome to the Prep Life Podcast. This is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Enger, and today I'm joined by two fabulous people. I've got my co-host, Lee Marie Jones, and we have a very special guest, newly crowned IFBB professional fit model, Brooklyn Goodsell.
Hello.
All right, so can you just give us a little bit about yourself? So where you're located, how old? What's your family like? A little bit of background information.
I am 32. I have one kid. I'm a mom. I'm an online coach. I've been competing for, geez, way too long. I did my first show when I was 13 months postpartum, and kind of competed on and off since then. Yeah, that's really about it.
How old's your kiddo?
He just turned 7, so he's in first grade.
So you've been competing for about 6 years-ish.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when your journey started, I believe we had mentioned or we talked about at North Americans that it was in a natural league, in a federation, in a different
Mhm.
federation. So can you kind of give us that timeline of NPC versus your natural federation?
Yeah, so I started in the I don't know if you guys know this federation. I feel like it's kind of died out a little bit, but it's the NGA, the National Gym Association. I started competing in that when I was like 20, before I had my son. And I went pro pretty quick in that division. To be honest, it was quite easy. Like I only had to do like 2 shows. It's not like the NPC where it's like you can go to all the national shows and you still don't get your pro card. Like that was totally my journey this year, but I digress. Like
Get to
let's go.
that for sure.
Yeah.
We definitely want to unpack all that and get
Well,
to all
yeah,
that.
we'll get there. But when I was 20, I did the NGA and I loved it. But I got to a point where I was like, I can only be so competitive. Um, and honestly, it was a lot like what Fit Model is now, just way softer. And then I started competing in bikini in the NPC like pretty soon, within like a year after that. And that's kind of what Fit Model looks like now. Geez, what was that? 2014, 2015.
Okay.
Um, it's the same look. And
Realistic.
yeah, it's crazy because I was doing really well actually. I was like winning first place, and then soon after I was doing well, I got pregnant with my son. And then things changed rapidly in bikini. I mean, the women got really muscular
Mhm.
and it just changed. And I came back 13 months postpartum and I was like, oh, wow, this is a different look and a different game. And yeah. So, anyways, that was the NGA. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. I feel like if you are getting into be competing and you're a little nervous about the NPC, like maybe start at a natural federation and see how you even like it first. So,
Okay. And then you have a very unique situation. I think it's so beautiful. I met your mom
oh yeah.
she competed in Fit Model at North Americans, but I just realized the other day that you also have a sister that's highly competitive. She just won an overall, if I'm not correct.
Yeah.
Like, is that
She
right?
did.
Dakota?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so tell us about your family dynamic and how that looks. Because I believe you have five, there's five of you, five
Hmm.
girls. Okay. So yeah, tell us all about your business too and your new podcast and all that good stuff with your
Yeah.
family.
Okay, so rewind. When I first started competing, it was just me. My husband actually was one that got me into it because he was a bodybuilder.
Okay.
You can see on this side of the shelf, here's my trophies, and then here's his trophies. He's like, I gotta keep mine up. So he got me into bodybuilding. I actually, when we first started dating, I was really attracted to him because he was the only guy in college, I swore, that actually like lifted weights and like had muscle. And I was like, he is hot. And I like loved his arms. And I remember like some of the women were like, he's just too muscular. And I was like, I actually am very attracted to his muscles. And then we started dating. Obviously, we got married. We've been married for 13 years now. But he was the one that was like, you should do a bodybuilding show because back when 2013, remember magazines, like those days.
Yes.
Like I went to the store. This was before social media, and I got a magazine with Aaron Stern on the front page. And I showed my husband, we were dating at the time, he was my boyfriend, and I said, I love the way that this woman looks. I want to be strong and fit like her. And he said, well, just let me train you. I'll train you like a bodybuilder. I'll train you how I train. And I said, okay, cool. So we soon after that got married and I did my first bodybuilding show. Well, then after about a year of me doing shows, my little sister, who is now competing and doing really well, she won the overall at the Idaho Cup and the Idaho Natural. She won 2 overalls back to back. She started competing with me too. And I started coaching her for those shows. And she actually did really well. And we competed together. I think we did like 3 shows together. We actually did all those Idaho shows because I live in Utah. She lives in Idaho. And we did that together. It was something we would go and travel together. It was fun. She would bring her boyfriend, her husband at the time. I'd bring my husband and we'd go do the shows together. And so it was something we did for a while together. And then we kind of shut it down and stopped competing for a while because I had a kid and she was busy finishing up her graduate degree and program. And then I had my son and my mom, actually, I got her into like lifting again. And I always told her, I'm like, Mom, if you want to compete, like you totally could do it. But I don't know if she just, I don't know, in her culture, in her community, her age, to be honest, like at the time, like in her late 40s and 50s, it was just really taboo. And so I just like kind of like always just like kind of like left it like with her, like you could do it, like it would be really amazing, like Dakota does that, I do it, like it'd be cool if you did it, because me and her used to run marathons together. And it was something we would always go like travel and go do that together. And it was always such a fun thing that we would do as a mom and daughter. And then
What is her culture? Is it Mormon or is she in
yeah.
Salt Lake City? Okay.
Yeah. So we live, well, where she lives and where I live, it's very, yeah, if you're familiar with
Mormon church.
the Mormon church or the LDS church, like it's very conservative. Very, very conservative. So like what I do, I'm no longer part of the religion. My mom is still, but it was very taboo. Like I got a lot of flack, I won't lie, like from my whole family when I first started competing. I mean, you would have thought, they honestly thought I was a stripper, to be honest. Like,
Oh, wow.
like my grandma called my dad very concerned about my salvation. Like, my dad's like, no, she's not going to hell. Like, she's still a good person. Like, it's fine. And my mom had to back me a ton. And so I think she was really afraid of like what people would think about her. And I finally just told her, I said, Mom, if like you want to do it, like you do just have to let go of what other people think and do it for yourself. Like it's not for them, it's for you. Like it's a goal you have. And so finally she said, okay, I'm going to do it. And so I trained her for her first bodybuilding show when I think she was 50. And that was amazing. That was like a big thing for her. She's like, I'm 50, I want to do my first show. And that was so fun to be a part of. Because at the time, like I was exclusively only coaching bodybuilders and competitors. And my son at the time was like a year old, like just barely a year. So it was really cool to watch her. And then since then, I think she's done so many shows. So yeah, that's kind of it. And then my sister, I think, saw my mom and she started getting back into it. I coached her for a little while for that. And then, yeah, and then we just kind of I know last year we did the Olympia together, all 3 of us. And now we're all thinking about maybe doing Tokyo together. So,
Oh,
so yeah.
that's great. Lee, did you have any questions?
I just kind of had a comment on that. I love that whole story. I actually had 2 clients that belonged to the LDS church. So I was raised super conservative Christian. And I remember when I started competing, my mom was kind of the same, like, what's up with all, because the sparkly bikini and the jewels and the heels, I think especially the heels throw people off. And she came to one of my shows and like, I remember her telling me after the show, like, wow, I get it. Like it's a sport and there's all these different criterias and things like that. And I think that's the bikini and the heels throw people off and it's not like the sport of it, that they just need to come to a show and like understand the judging and like, it's a serious sport. And I just, something you said about going back to competing after you had your son. I just had a couple of questions about that. You mentioned saying that the look had totally changed at that point. So did you feel like when you wanted to go back to competing at that point, did you feel pressure to like if you want to go back to competing, you have to do and like be enhanced, or there's like pressure like that? Did it ever occur to you that like your competition season was over or that you couldn't be competitive anymore? Like what was your thought process going back into like seeing bikini having evolved so much?
Yeah, so initially the reason why I decided to step on stage after I had my son is because my husband actually pushed me to do a show because I was in a really dark place and really suffering from like postpartum depression. And I was like in like the lowest of lows. Like I was very suicidal, like, and my husband knew that like competing had been like a big bright spot for me before. And it was something that like kept me focused and kept me just, I don't know, there's something about having a goal that keeps you waking up every day. Obviously I had a son, a kid, but like I was suffering from really bad depression. And so my husband was like, maybe you do a show. Like maybe we go to Idaho. And I think it was like October. And I had my son in September the year prior. And so I hadn't actually even really looked at what the bikini was looking like at the time because I was just kind of, to be honest, I was just surviving. I just was like, okay, I'm going to do a show just to pull me out of this like depressive state that I'm in and have me focus on taking care of myself. And then I think like once I got to Idaho and I saw the look, I was like, oh yeah, they're like basically figure now, because that's what I was attracted to initially, I'll be honest, was the figure look. I loved Erin Stern and she was figure. And so I was like, I'm not mad about it. Like I was like, these girls look amazing, but I just had a baby and I've lost a lot of muscle and I obviously need to take some time. So that was never like where my brain went initially. I think I was just more in like, oh, I'm going to do this for a goal, to like reach a goal and to feel good about myself. But then, I'll be honest, after I did that show, I was just kind of like, okay, I did it. I didn't really have that competitive drive in me at that point because I had a little baby at home and my life was so different. After you have a kid, life is so different. Like it wasn't about me anymore. And I had just started my business when my son was 8 months old. And so I was kind of it was just like a check off, like, oh, I did it, like 13 months postpartum. Cool. Like that was great. Um, and then I don't think I competed for like another year after that. So to answer your question, no, I never like felt that pressure because at that point in time, I was kind of just doing it for fun. And I didn't really start getting competitive until probably about 2 years ago. Um, but we all know bikini changed drastically, even from like 2000, when I had my son 2018 to like now, it's like, even the last 3 years, it's like, holy smokes, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. So that perfectly segues into you telling us about kind of what made you pick Fit Model and how you feel about that and kind of where were your thoughts? Did you compete in 2024 as bikini and then kind of once you heard the announcement, or how did that timeline work with Fit Model?
Yeah. So, I mean, like you work with Paul as well. So I started working with Paul in 2022, and the reason why I hired him is because me and him like are very aligned in our like just not only the methods, but like the strategy and our mindset and like just the way that we view the sport. And I just loved his approach. The coach I had before that was challenging. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to like talk crap on anybody, but when I made that switch over to Paul, he was the first coach that actually believed in me, number one, and pushed me and also kept me in a place like strategically where I could be somewhat competitive. The coach before I worked with worked with Paul. She just like grinded me into the ground and my body, I think we've talked about this. Like, we talked about this while we were North Americans. I'm not going to say names, but it was just not a good experience. But when I started working with Paul, like I finally got to that like level where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually competitive. And even Paul was like, yeah, we could probably get you first call outs at nationals, which for me was everything. And this was during bikini. Okay. So I went to Jen Dory's show and this was 2022, 2023. I think it was 2023. I did Jen Dory's show and I got like second in my class for bikini. And then I went to nationals and I got 7th at nationals in December. And
That's really
then
good.
what's that?
That's really good. That's a competitive show for your first national.
Yeah. And
Right.
I cried. I got off that stage. My mom actually came with me. I got off stage and I cried because I was like, oh my gosh, I had only done 2 national shows before that, before I had my son, and I got like second call outs and at both shows. And then I did one, I got like a year before that with my previous coach, I got like 4th call outs. And so like the fact that I got first call outs at a first national show, I was like, I literally was crying. And my mom was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm just so happy. I was like so blown away. And then Paul was like, well, maybe we should do the Arnold. And that's in February. And I'm like, sure, let's just keep prepping through the holidays. Why not? And this was in 2023, rolling into 2024. And my mom actually decided to do the Arnold with me. And that was so fun. we had so much fun. And I got 5th at that one. And then that year, I didn't compete again until the Olympia Amateur in 2024, which is funny because that's where I got my pro card the next year. And I did that with my mom and my sister, and that was so fun. It was my mom's birthday and we just had a blast. And then again, I did nationals in December. I was 4th at the Olympia Amateur in Bikini, and then I got 5th, or no, I think I got 6th place at nationals in December. So at that point in time, this is when Bikini was really becoming really muscular. And I was seeing it. I was seeing it backstage. I was seeing it in the way that, like, talking to the women and the way they were looking, and honestly, the way they were sounding. I was just like, okay, wow, this is really changing. And it was kind of a reality check. And then I talked to Paul and we decided, okay, let's push for the Arnold. I'm so close. I just need a little bit more size. So we pushed for the Arnold in 2025. So this last year in February. And again, I got 6th. So I had like gone down in placings. And I remember getting off stage and just feeling so defeated and just feeling like, you know what? I probably am done competing. I literally was just like, obviously, like, I've got 2 options here. I take like 2 or 3 years off and I build, or I get on a bunch of stuff, right? I get on a bunch of stuff. And I talked to Paul and I said, I love my femininity. So I don't think that that's a place I want to go. And so honestly, we sat down and I kind of told him, I said, I think I'm done. And we both agreed, like, it was probably just best that I just don't compete bikini anymore. And I wasn't even thinking fit model, to be honest. Like, it wasn't even crossing my mind because I think Tyler had announced that in December. And so I was really sad because I felt like I was finally in a place where I was doing decent, but I knew that I was lacking the size. That was the feedback from all the judges. Like, you need bigger, bigger, bigger. And I was like, I'm almost 5'8". Like, genetically, the only way I'm going to get bigger is if I take time off and I get on some like serious gear. And I know, I just was like, ugh. And to be honest, when I was backstage at the Arnold, I was like, these girls are massive. Like, I am not this stacked. I'm not this built. So that was a point in time where I was like, this is it. I'm done. And then after that, I went home and I told my husband. I was really sad. I don't know, I felt like it was like a breakup. Like, I was breaking up with bodybuilding. I felt so sad about it. Because it was a huge thing in my life. And my husband was like, well, what about the new fit model division? And I was like, I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. And then the more I started thinking about it, I was like, maybe I'll just try it out, and just see. And then I texted Paul one morning. He's so funny. I texted him and I was like, what do you think about like fit model? And he calls me right away and he goes, I think that's a great idea. Yeah. And then he went off and was like, da, 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 da. And I was just like, he was so excited. He talked to me for like an hour. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so what do you think? I was like, maybe the California show. And he goes, oh no, you should do the Wasatch Warrior. It's just in your backyard. And I'm like, okay. I was like, this is going to be different. Okay, let's do it. And so, I mean, if it weren't for Paul, honestly, I would have never done fit model because I literally just was like, what do you think? And he was so excited.
That's
Like,
awesome.
it was so funny. He talked to me for like an hour and then I like went upstairs and was like, Jordan, Paul thinks I should do fit model. And he goes, yeah, like, why not? And then I did fit model, and then here we are.
So can you go through your overall wins? Because I know you've at least had a couple. And then also kind of which national shows, pro qualifiers you've done this year in your journey to pro leading up to that Olympia amateur.
Yeah, oh my gosh, what a journey this year has been. So my first fit model show, I was it was in here in Salt Lake City, Utah. It was Wasatch Warrior. And it was like one of the first fit model like shows that they had had. I think they had had like a few prior. And so like I didn't really know what to expect. And I'll be honest, like a few weeks before that, I went to Disneyland with my sisters and my mom. And when we go to Disneyland together, it's not good. Like we're drinking, we're eating, like we're in like major surpluses for like many days. And so I got done at that and I literally texted Paul and I was like, I don't think I'm doing the show. I am bloated and I gained weight. And he was like, he basically guilt tripped me, but which I'm grateful for now. He was like, well, I'm coming out to Utah and I want to see you compete. So, and I was like, I'll do the show. I'm grateful to him now because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And so I said, okay, I'll do it, but I don't feel confident. Like, and I won't lie, like coming into that show, even the day before, I felt just like, because I'm used to bikini where you're just diced and you're shredded. And at the beginning of the year, the fit model look was very soft, extremely soft and really full. And I came in Wasatch Warrior. I think I had like 8 or 9 girls in my class and I won my class. And then soon after that, like I won the overall. And I still like after I won the overall, I was like, I don't know how that happened. Like, I'm pretty sure they just felt bad for me because they seen me on the national stage and they're like, give this girl this poor girl, let's give her an overall. And that's literally how I felt every time I win. I don't ever, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the best. I'm usually like, well, I'm pretty sure they felt bad for me. So I won that overall. And that was kind of what propelled me into nationals. I did junior USAs and I got second there. So I was one spot away from my pro card. And then I did junior nationals and I got third. So 2 spots away from my pro card. And then from there, I went and did, what was that show? Not
Universe?
Atlanta. It wasn't Universe. I did a regional show again. Oh, I did the Republic of Texas. And I won the overall there.
It's a huge
And
show.
yeah, that
Both
was so
those,
fun.
both Wasatch and Republic are huge shows. That's a huge honor to have
Yeah,
those titles.
it was like surreal. I won't lie. Like every time, because when I was in bikini, I never won overalls. I was like first or second always. And so that was huge. Like I was like, okay, wow, like this is great. And it kind of kept me going, I won't lie. Like I think I needed those like little moments to just be like, keep going. Um, because I won't lie, like after junior nationals, I was like, how do I go from second to third? Like, what's wrong? Like, what am I doing wrong? And so I won the overall, and that kind of propelled me to doing USAs. And then I went to USAs and I got sixth. And after I got sixth at USAs, I was crushed. I got off stage because you know almost immediately when you do prejudging where you're placing. And I knew I was on the outside and I went backstage and I just kind of like sat and just like I probably was pouting a little bit like a little kid, but I just felt really sad because I'm just like, I was doing good and then I dropped all the way to 6. Like what happened? Um and even Paul like was baffled. Like he's like, I don't know what happened. I had multiple coaches coming up to me and like, I don't really understand. Like, and I'm like, I don't understand either. I guess this is bodybuilding. And at that point in time, I was considering just being done. I was like, I think I'm done. Like I can't keep doing this because it's killing me. I've invested a lot of money, I'm investing a lot of time, I'm traveling a lot, I'm spending time away from my family. And I remember walking in the hall. My mom, my husband, and my son were there. And I had some friends come into town from like California. And my friend Nadia came in from California to see me. And I had some few other friends because everybody's like, oh, this is gonna be it. You're gonna get your pro card. And honestly, I felt so embarrassed. I felt so defeated. I felt so sad. And I just felt awful. Like I just felt like everything I'd been working towards just was meaningless because I went from here to here. And that's a big drop. That like really hits you hard. And so we were walking up the elevator, going up the elevator to our room, and my mom and my son like ran ahead of us and got into the room. And that year, particularly like this last year was a really hard year. We went through some really awful, I'll tell you in private later, but we went through some like really hard private family stuff. And I looked at my husband and I said, I know this sounds silly, but I was just hoping this would just be like a good win for the year because I just needed it. Like it's been such a heavy year. And it's not about the trophy. It's not about the pro card. It's just about like something good happening and me being like, it was worth it. Like, it's okay. Like something good can happen this year. And he just kind of sat there and let me cry. And then he looks at me and he goes, but you're going to do North Americans. And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I think I just need to be done. And I go into the room and my mom's like, I'm going to go to North Americans with you. Let's go. And that was in August. And so like, I have all these amazing people in my life that are like, just keep going. And I'm like, I don't think I can. I just like literally just had nothing left in me at that point. I was tired. You know, I had done the Olympia Amateur. I had done nationals in December. I had done the Arnold. I had done Wasatch Warrior. I had done what was the next one? Junior USA's, Junior Nationals, and then USA's. And then what was the other one? Republic. That was 8 shows up to that point I had done. I was tired.
During the holidays, you were prepping. That gets to be exhausting.
It was a lot. And I was like, I just don't know if I can keep going. I think like our minds quit on us much quicker than our body. And that's what I told Paul. I said, it's not that I'm physically tired or my hormones aren't doing good or I'm not feeling good because I feel great. And I said, it's my mind. I think my mind is tired. I think my mind is like, can we stop with this like up and down, up and down? And so at that point in time, I was like, I think I just need to be done and just be done. And luckily I had my mom who was just like, let's just do it. I'm going to book the flight right now and let's go. And my husband's like, you're going to go, like, just go. I'm like, okay. So in between those 2 shows, I decided just randomly one day to go and do the Atlanta Pro Show in Atlanta, Georgia. I woke up like 2 days before the show and I was like, I think I'm going to do Atlanta because Paul had been texting me like, I wish you were here. I wish you were doing Atlanta. And I was like, dude, I'm not coming to Atlanta. My sister's graduating and I need to be there for her graduation. And for whatever reason, I woke up one day and I was like, I'm going to go. And my sister's graduation was at like 10 o'clock and my flight was at like 4 o'clock. And so I flew in the day before the show and then I competed the next day and I won the overall. And that's what gave me my ticket to Olympia Amateur. And that was before North Americans. So I did that. I won that overall before North Americans and that was in front of Tyler. And Tyler, I mean, Tyler's never talked to me. I'm honestly a little scared of him. So he like actually like came up and was like, you're doing North Americans, right? And I was like, yeah. And he like shook my hand. He shook Paul's hand and Paul's like, I've never seen him shake anybody's hand. And I was like, okay, yeah. And he was so nice. He was so nice. And he's like, just a little tighter in the glutes. And I'm like, I've been hearing that all year. I'm like, what does that actually mean? And so he was so nice. I know that tighter in the glutes, right?
That's all I ever hear.
You're like, but like, what do you mean? The only person that has given me structured feedback about that has been Bill. I'll be honest. Bill, when I have asked him, what do you actually mean by that? He will actually like break down, like, this is what I mean. He has been so good about giving me feedback, which is funny because he's the one that awarded me my overall at Texas. And then after North Americans, so I did North Americans, got 4th. And after that, like, my husband's like, just one more shot. Like, we live 5 hours from Vegas. Just do the Olympia Amateur and just be done after that. And he's like, you've got a free entry. It's sitting in your office. Like, just go. And I'm like, okay, but this is it. Like, I can't do anymore. That's like, what, how many, 11 shows in a year. And I just was like, I just can't do anymore. After this, I'm done. And I even told Paul, and I said, this is my last show for the season. And probably for a while, I just need to be done. Like, I've been competing very heavily. I think like I added it up and it's like 17 shows in the last like 3 years, 17 or 18 shows. But I mean, praise to Paul because he's kept me really healthy. I've had my period. I don't lose it. Like I am, my hormones are like top notch. Everything looks great. And so then coming into the Olympia Amateur, you know, I go from at the beginning of the year, like all these overalls, second, third to sixth to fourth. So in my head, coming into the Olympia Amateur, I was like, there is a 90% chance I am not getting my pro card. Like I literally was just like, this is just it for fun, like for funsies, and then I'm done. Like this is it. Like this will end my season for a while. And I think even Paul, like, because we've been like with it together, I think he also was just like, I don't know. And because, you know, I've stopped asking him, like, what do you think? Because I could come in looking great and I get sixth, right? And so we both just were like, we're just gonna give it our all. And I came in and they did like first call outs, and they moved me like 4 or 5 times. I was on the very end, and they moved me to the other end, and then they moved me to this end, and then they moved me to this end, and then this end. And then I honestly like blacked out. I didn't know what happened because I got off stage prejudging, and I get down like the stairs and I hear Paul like, Paul, you made like front and center. And I was just like, no, I didn't. And I was like, show me a video. So like he showed me a video and I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I probably got second, Paul. I literally looked down. I was like, I probably got second. And he goes, yeah, you might have got second, but maybe you got first. And I was like, but most likely I got second. Like, because like, you know, you just get used to not winning and you get used to not placing well. You just kind of expect to not do well. And you have to like set it up in your mind, like, you know, just so you don't like feel totally crushed. I think that's kind of what my brain was doing. And then even then, like, I even said to myself, like, okay, so what if you do win first? Like, and I said, I probably will be the girl who doesn't get her pro card. Like, that's probably what will happen because, you know, that's my story. Like, I'm not the person who gets that, you know? And so when we,
C-class girl.
what's that? I
That would be a
know.
boomer. The C-class girl. My heart broke for her too, because I was like, that would, out of 4, you're the one person that won your class that didn't get a card, which kind of stinks for her, but I'm
It
glad
does
that you
stink.
got yours.
I wish they would have just like, I don't know, just like done before, like, please.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know. And then, yeah, I mean, we got to the overall and I got my pro card and I was in shock for like a week. I was just like, I remember waking up like a few days after I won it and I like walked downstairs and like at 2 a.m. to look at it and be like, oh, that actually happened. Okay, that wasn't pretend. So that was real life. So that was my journey, and a, a really long journey, but I'm very grateful for it because every show I have learned something new. And honestly, looking back, I've met some of the most amazing people through it. And I feel like that's been the biggest thing for me.
It's beautiful. Lee, did you have a question?
Yeah. So now that you are a pro, we actually don't have Fit Model Pro shows yet. So what's your, like, what are you in an off season now? What are your plans going forward? Now that you got the pro card, are you going to keep competing, or are you still kind of like, no, I need a break because you did so many shows? Like, what's your plan now?
Yeah. So, okay, so they did come out, Tokyo came out and said that they're doing the first Fit Model Pro IFBB Pro show, and that's in February.
Okay.
I'm 90% sure that I'm going to do that show. And I'm trying to convince my mom to come with me because they have just an NPC division. And so she's like, yeah, I'll do it with you. So hopefully my mom listens to this and this peer pressures her to come with me. So, and then my sister said she might come with me too. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that one. And then Wasatch Warrior just announced today. So I won the overall Wasatch Warrior Fit Model last year. They just announced they are doing IFBB Fit Model for their show this year in April. So I will 100% do that because it's in my backyard. And that would be so fun to do, like come back as like a pro. That was like my whole thing. I was like, that'd be so cool. So that's my plan. I know I thought I was gonna shut it down, but like Paul says, he's like, I can't keep you off stage. I'm like, I know, I just love it so much. So
Yeah, so they announced Japan's February 27th, 28th, something like that.
Yep.
And then we know that the Pittsburgh, obviously, in May. And then I just saw June 26th and 27th, the St. Pete Pro just announced that they're doing a Masters 40 plus for Fit Model, which that's the first Masters one I've heard of for Fit Model, over 40, but they're also doing an open one as well. But I
So
just thought
cool.
that was interesting. I just saw that online today. So I think they're going to start coming out, and we're going to hear a lot of buzz about that. So
Yes, it's so exciting. It's so fun to be a part of it. Like, I don't know. I feel like Fit Model's bikini. It is totally bikini, what, like 7, 8 years ago. So
for sure.
it's so fun.
Well, before we hop off, I kind of wanted to hear a little bit about your company and your business and your podcast, just to give you a little bit of a, shout out to what you do. Because you work with your sister and your mom, is that correct? Or I know they're at least on your podcast as co-hosts, and another person is as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I started Fierce Queen Fitness. That's my coaching business, like nutrition, fitness coaching. I started that when my son was 8 months old. I was a trainer in the gym, and I just wanted to coach women online, and because I wanted to help them more, because I feel like in the gym they restricted me from doing a lot. So I transitioned online, and then from there I kind of slowly grew the business. So Amanda is the one girl that you hear on there. She's one of my coaches. She's 44. And then my mom's coaching for me as well. She's, 57, and then my sister's 29. And then my husband, actually, he does a lot of like our back end stuff. So,
Sure.
what's that?
What was your age? Because I don't think you said it.
Oh, me? My age? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm 32.
Yeah, so you have 20, 30, 40, and 50. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really good. It's been fun. My goal this year, like after I won my pro card, I said my goal is to just expand the business and take the business away from my face and make it more of a brand, so people can align it with like, oh, Fierce Queen Fitness is not Brooklyn, it's these women. And so that's kind of my goal. Yeah, the women we work with, I really specialize. So I'm perimenopause, menopause, PCOS certified. I actually went out and got separate certifications to learn how to work with that population, because I was working with a lot of women with hormonal and metabolic conditions. So I went out and like got a bunch of different like certifications in those places, and I don't know, it just brought in more business for that. And those are like my bread and butter, because I know how to help those women, because I also have PCOS, I have a thyroid condition as well. So I can honestly relate to them. So that's my business. We do nutrition, training, coaching. And then we have our podcast, which is Amanda, 44, my sister, basically 30, me, 32, and then my mom, 57. So, and that's Fit and Fabulous at any age. So
Nice.
yeah.
Love it. We'll definitely put those links in the show notes, and so that people can reach out to you. But are there any closing thoughts that you have for our audience? Maybe that you wanted to share with everybody that you haven't, or a question that we hadn't covered?
Yeah. I think just like, I know, because you're Prep Life podcast, I would assume a lot of women who listen to our competitors, or they're like striving for either a pro card or just wanting to get on stage the first time. Like, I don't know. I always say like the biggest thing is, just because you don't get it right now doesn't mean it's not going to happen for you. I feel like my journey has been not, I've never been one of those girls who gets things instantly. I've always had to work for basically anything I want in my life. I have to work really hard. So, if you want to get on stage or compete or whatever it is, like a business venture, like just because you don't get it the first time or the second time, or in my case, like the 8th time, like just keep trying, keep going. If it's important to you, like you'll find a way and it will happen for you. So
Awesome. Well, we would love it if all of you gave her some love. So Brooklyn, can you kind of share with us your Instagram handle? And then, like I said, we'll put it in the show notes, but I would love for people to be able to tag you on their story and tell you what this episode meant to them.
yeah. Yeah. So it's just Brooklyn Goodsell _ IFBB Pro. And then yeah, Facebook is just Brooklyn Goodsell. So
All right. You can find us on Instagram at Prep Life Podcast or at Glam Girl Bikini, and you can apply for coaching with Lee Marie or myself at glamgirlbikini.com. Thanks for listening, guys.